When we hear the word desert, our minds often jump to the scorching sands of the Arabian Peninsula. But the driest place on Earth is far more extreme, a place where almost nothing can survive. Ironically, this same place is highly sought after by nations around the world, including the United States. That place is Antarctica, an uninhabited, frozen continent. This continent is a magnetic destination for scientists, explorers, and even conspiracy theorists who believe in aliens or other worlds hidden behind its walls of ice. And if we were to explore it fully, we might just find countless secrets hidden beneath the icebergs and the endless white landscape. White is all you can see in Antarctica, as far as the eye can see. There are only mountains of ice and vast white plains. But don't make the mistake of thinking this continent is just a collection of ice floating in the Southern Ocean. Beneath its incredibly thick ice sheet lies a landmass of 5.5 million square miles, 14.2 million square kilometers. To give you some perspective, that's nearly twice the size of the United States, making Antarctica the fifth largest continent in the world. The catch is, this continent has been covered in ice for millions of years. Its ice sheet is unbelievably thick, reaching up to 2.5 miles, 4 kilometers, in some areas, with an average thickness of about 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers. To put that into context, if you placed Mount Rainier from Washington, one of the tallest mountains in the US on the continent, its peak wouldn't even break through the surface of Antarctica's thickest ice. With ice that deep, Antarctica is an incredibly dry region. It's no surprise that it's known not only as the driest place on Earth, but also as the only continent that cannot support permanent human settlement. In fact, due to the extreme conditions, virtually no native plants or animals can survive in Antarctica's interior. However, some marine plants and algae do manage to grow along the continent's edges, and various marine animal species have established habitats on its periphery. But the vast interior of Antarctica remains empty and uninhabited. When you compare this to the Arctic, which is home to indigenous peoples like the Inuit, you start to grasp just how extreme the South Pole truly is. According to National Geographic, the average temperature on the Antarctic coast ranges from 14 degrees Fahrenheit down to minus 22 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 10 degrees Celsius to minus 30 degrees Celsius. This temperature plummets dramatically in the high-altitude interior, where it can drop below minus 76 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 60 degrees Celsius. At these temperatures, fatal hypothermia can set in within minutes without proper protection.
A scramble for power and the birth of a peace treaty. Despite its extreme and uninhabitable conditions, Antarctica has always been a hub of human activity. Since the first explorations in the 1820s, it began as a stage for explorers and scientists to compete for prestige. But this ambition soon grew into a desire to conquer, or even claim, the entire continent. To this day, Antarctica remains a vital location for scientific research, aiming to uncover the secrets buried beneath its million-year-old ice. More importantly, Antarctica is the single most influential region for monitoring Earth's climate. Scientific articles have shown that the effects of global warming are clearly visible in the melting of its ice, drawing climate scientists from all over the world. Furthermore, oceanographers, astronomers, and astrobiologists see Antarctica as a research paradise, thanks to its pristine ocean and clear skies. These factors are likely why Antarctica has long been the subject of a global scramble, with many nations wanting to claim the world's southernmost continent. This rivalry led to a long history of international incidents and conflicts. Initially, tensions were fueled by countries attempting to claim territory, and it nearly led to war on the continent itself. Several diplomatic efforts were made to cool the situation, but the major breakthrough came with the launch of a global science project. During an international scientific event called the International Geophysical Year, IGY, two nations active in Antarctic research, Argentina and Chile, declared that the research conducted by the 12 participating countries did not grant any territorial rights. They insisted that when the IGY ended, all facilities must be dismantled. However, when the IGY concluded in 1958, research by several nations, including the United States and the Soviet Union, was still incomplete. Both superpowers announced they would not dismantle their facilities until their work was finished. This disagreement escalated international tensions, sparking fears of a Cold War on ice. To resolve the situation, U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower convened the Antarctic Conference, inviting the 12 nations that had been active there since the IGY. The goal was to sign a peace treaty. The problem was, due to geopolitical interests, reaching a final decision was difficult, and negotiations dragged on. It took over 60 negotiating sessions and 2 conference stages before the Antarctic Treaty system was finally created. The treaty stipulates that Antarctica shall be used for peaceful purposes only. It guarantees the freedom of scientific investigation and requires that all findings be exchanged and made freely available. It also prohibits any military activities and the exploitation of mineral resources. The treaty was signed in Washington, D.C. on December 1, 1959, by the 12 original nations: Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, now Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The Antarctic Treaty officially came into force in 1961 and has since been adopted by many other nations. Its impact has been profound, helping to maintain peace and prevent conflict. Today, there are 56 parties to the treaty. Since 2004, the Antarctic Treaty Secretariat has been headquartered in Buenos Aires, Argentina. There is a common misconception that the treaty will expire in 2048. In fact, the Antarctic Treaty has no expiration date. However, in 2048, any of the treaty's consultative parties can request a conference to review the Protocol on Environmental Protection, which includes the ban on mineral-related activities. If a new agreement isn't reached, it could open the door to a new scramble for territorial claims in Antarctica.
Scientific exploration and mysteries beneath the ice. Now, let's step away from politics and return to the science of Antarctica. The continent has a unique relationship with time, especially when it comes to sunrise and sunset. While most of us see the sun rise and set every day in Antarctica, that's a rare event that happens only once every 6 months. Antarctica is also a treasure trove for meteorites. Because the landscape is a vast, white sheet of ice, dark rocks from space stand out easily. Among the thousands found, some have been identified as rare meteorites from Mars. By studying them, scientists have gained new insights into the early history of our solar system and the evolution of its planets. In some cases, these meteorites have even contained possible traces of microscopic life. For geologists, Antarctica is a paradise for studying Earth's evolution. Deep beneath the ice lie subglacial lakes, buried for millions of years. These lakes, first identified in the 1970s, are interconnected, with water flowing between them. Researchers believe some of these lakes have been isolated from the outside world for about 15 million years, sealed under 13,000 feet, 4,000 meters of solid ice. The largest of these, Lake Vostok in East Antarctica, was just the beginning. Today, thanks to satellite data and radio waves, scientists have discovered over 400 subglacial lakes, with more likely to be found. Researchers believe there is a high potential for life to be sheltering in these extremely cold, dark environments. The search for this hidden life is one of the most ambitious goals in science today. It's believed that microbes could have adapted to the extreme conditions in these lakes, or within the ice itself. And indeed, scientists have found unique microbial ecosystems, bacteria, algae, and other microscopic organisms, thriving in the Antarctic ice. There are theories that other microbes might survive in ice caves or near hidden geothermal vents, using alternative energy sources like nutrients from rocks. If this life can be studied, it could unlock secrets about evolution, adaptation, and the very limits of life itself. According to the official Antarctic Glaciers website, several nations are currently running drilling projects into these subglacial lakes, including Lake Vostok, Lake Whillans, and Lake Ellsworth. These projects are incredibly challenging, as scientists must avoid contaminating these pristine ancient environments. But the payoff is huge, a chance to read Earth's climate history, frozen in time. The process of drilling for ice cores, long cylindrical sections of ice, is slow and expensive. But these cores contain trapped air bubbles, dust, and chemical signatures that allow scientists to analyze past climate parameters like atmospheric composition, temperature, and precipitation patterns from hundreds of thousands of years ago. By analyzing these ice cores, scientists create a climate record that reveals past ice ages, warming periods, and dramatic temperature shifts. Ultimately, this helps us understand how our climate changes and allows us to better predict future trends. One project famously discovered an air bubble that was 800,000 years old, giving us a snapshot of Earth's atmosphere from the distant past to help forecast our future. This research is critical. The world is deeply concerned about global warming, which is causing polar ice to melt. If this continues, it will disrupt global climate systems, damage coastal ecosystems, and cause sea levels to rise, threatening to submerge coastal areas worldwide. The idea of cities like New York or Miami being underwater might sound like science fiction, but it's a real possibility if Antarctica's ice continues to melt. And long before that happens, the ecosystem in Antarctica will feel the effects first. Melting ice means a loss of habitat for animals that depend on it, and it could reduce the food supply in the Antarctic Ocean. Fortunately, the Antarctic Treaty helps slow this down. By banning the exploitation of the continent's vast, untapped reserves of oil and minerals, the treaty provides a crucial layer of protection. The conspiracy theories of Antarctica.
All of this discovery, research, and exploration in Antarctica has given rise to many fascinating, and often wild, theories and speculations. One of the most popular topics is the existence of aliens in Antarctica. Although there's no scientific evidence, these theories thrive online. They claim that world governments are using research facilities as a cover to hide alien technology, or even the aliens themselves. These theories are often supported by satellite images that show unusual structures, like strange buildings or objects that look like pyramids in the ice. The ice drilling projects are often woven into these conspiracies, with claims that they are secretly trying to cover up evidence of alien life. However, most of these claims are based on what's called patternicity, seeing meaningful patterns in random data, like mistaking a rock formation for an alien spaceship. Scientists and experts have widely debunked these claims. To date, there is no concrete evidence of aliens in Antarctica or anywhere else on Earth. Beyond aliens, there's the conspiracy theory of a hidden world behind Antarctica's ice wall. This theory gained popularity after a fantasy author created a fictional map known as the Terra Infinita map. Against all odds, this fictional map became a key piece of evidence for a world beyond the ice. This theory suggests that a massive ice wall surrounds Antarctica, hiding a secret world guarded by a global elite. This hidden world is supposedly home to advanced ancient civilizations, or even supernatural beings. As intriguing as this sounds, it also lacks any credible evidence. Scientific research in Antarctica does not support the existence of a giant wall or a hidden world. Most scientists agree it would be impossible to keep such a world secret for decades without it being detected. That's why this theory, much like the Terra Infinita map, is considered pure fiction, captivating, but without any proof to back it up.
From the story of Antarctica, we can draw three fundamental lessons for the future of human civilization. Antarctica is the barometer of our planet's health. This continent is no longer just a distant land of ice. It's an early warning system for the entire world, including for us here in America. What happens in Antarctica doesn't stay in Antarctica. The future of our coastal cities, like Miami, New York, and New Orleans, is directly tied to the stability of this continent. The data from ice cores provides an invaluable record of our past climate, helping us predict and mitigate the climate crisis ahead. Antarctica is a laboratory for global peace. The story of the Antarctic Treaty is living proof that humanity can set aside conflict and national interests for a greater good, peace and science. At the height of the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union sat down together to declare an entire continent a zone of peace. This is a powerful model for today's global challenges, whether it's a pandemic or an energy crisis. Our future will be tested in 2048, when the treaty's environmental protocol can be reviewed. Will we uphold this legacy of peace, or will the temptation to exploit its mineral and oil reserves trigger a new conflict? The choice we make will define our character as a civilization. Antarctica is a reflection of our exploratory ethics. The discovery of isolated subglacial lakes teaches us a profound lesson about the responsibility that comes with discovery. The painstaking efforts of scientists to drill into these lakes without contaminating them is a critical lesson. As we explore new ecosystems on Earth, or perhaps even life on other planets, the ethic of do no harm must be our guiding principle. The rise of conspiracy theories also shows how fragile scientific truth can be in the digital age. Our future depends on our ability to distinguish between researched facts and compelling fiction. Ultimately, Antarctica teaches us that our future is a choice between balance and destruction, between cooperation and conflict, and between the pursuit of knowledge and the spread of falsehoods. The fate of the ice continent is a direct reflection of our own.
If you want to see more videos, make sure to subscribe.